What's shaking, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more John Taylor, and we're back to start a new album, 1997 Autodidact, which if you didn't know means someone who teaches themselves. To be an autodidact is to learn something of one's own faculties and accord rather than being mentored, tutored, or apprenticed in any way, or learning through, reading, sort of like literary comprehension of whatever task or process you were about to engage in. So yeah, to be an autodidact is to sort of rely on your own wit and guile. I enjoy the idea of that for an album title, and I understand a number of ways that could actually manifest, although again, still coming to an understanding of John Taylor's creative output and sort of his, life trajectory. A number of people in the Duran Duran reactions have, of course, helped with crucial stages in that, but obviously, like, crucial points in someone's life, they're big moments, but there's all sorts of living in between, and indeed, in terms of the quantity of living and sort of, day-to-day life, that is actually the vast majority of living, not sort of big moments that do get remembered in more detail. But that's the thing. The first track is called Anon, One Day at a Time, obviously making reference to either Alcohol Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, maybe a bit of both for a lot of people, and indeed, there's all sorts of things you could say about this, the 12-step process, and there are people who criticize certain aspects of it, and what it necessarily encourages people to do or think. Nevertheless, it does work for a lot of people. It does help a lot of people sort of get control of their worst impulses, their vices, their demons, perhaps. But yeah, again, I think for each person it's going to be an individual experience, and perhaps, with greater efficacy or otherwise. But it does seem, on some level, knowing a bit of John's history and his sort of struggle with addiction and those sort of influences, which, as a number of people will know, is one of, I think, the main sources for the song Hold Back the Rain, which is one of Duran Duran's fantastic earlier songs. So yeah, I enjoy that sort of, the fact that good creative material can still come out of people's struggles, and people's friends' struggles and bandmates' struggles and so on. So yeah, bottom line, it does sound like John has used the 12-step program to get his life under greater control, to sort of quiet his demons, and to try to just, take every day, all that living between big memorable moments, one step at a time, one day at a time, and just to try to, avoid falling prey to your worst instincts on that sort of incremental level. So with all that in mind, I expect it to be maybe an emotional song, or at least a song with a sense of gravity and what it's meant to his life. And ultimately, you write a song like this, there are many people out there in programs, whether the 12-step officially or some other sort of treatment program, or even if they're not in a treatment program, there's people struggling with addiction, maybe people who genuinely are aware of it and try to not let it get the best of them, but still succumb to sort of overindulgence and excess, which can cause problems in other parts of your life. So yeah, thankfully, not to give too much personal history away here, but yeah, when I was a teen or early 20s, I did a lot of experimenting, I did a lot of partying, but thankfully I was able to navigate that with a reasonable approach, and ultimately did not succumb to any major addictions. But there are people in my extended family who've had some alcoholism issues and so on, and maybe part of why I was able to navigate that sort of youthful exuberance. Again, I was going to rave parties in the 90s, which, are pretty famously associated with drug culture and sort of at least psychedelic mind experiences and so on. I was able to get through that with only sort of the minimal of issues or problems, and I think part of that was because I was aware that those demons might be lurking in a hereditary sense, and as such, was keen to kind of walk a fine line between partying and going to parties and living with a capital L, but also trying to at least keep things in order and take care of my responsibilities and not be sort of passed out in the middle of the afternoon in front of my parents or something. So yeah, ultimately it was a tightrope which I think I walked reasonably well, but I get for a lot of people, and for reasons maybe not entirely their own fault, it's not so easy just to, oh well, just party a little bit and don't let it overtake you and so on. So yeah, with all those things in mind, let's listen to it. This is John Taylor. The tune is Anon, One Day at a Time, and it's on the 1997 album Autodidact. It's got more of a groove beat than I thought it would, I'll tell you that. poppy than I would expect. This is awesome. I'm loving it.
When I go to the student room, I get my hands in it.
Hold on.
I get plenty of luck on all the kids I meet. I get a sense of fun from them.
We might have a 303.
I know a man with problems, so self-absorbed. He couldn't see nothing past the end of his world. His life was great, it was hard to see. But I got the number, I got the recipe. Everything's gonna be alright, one day at a time. Everything's gonna be alright, one day at a time.
Probably my favorite tune by him so far. Certainly of a bit more like energetic one.
Just get the beat.
Got a bit of that like 90s electronic flavor.
I got respect for Jesus. He was a lovely case.
Lovely case.
I like Keanu Reeves. There are so many lessons. I like to mix them up like a temporary filling. A 24-hour cup. So what if life's what you wanted? Oh, what if it's not? There's always time to turn around and come around the block. Grass is always greener. I don't mean to be crass, but life is here when the light is here, so make the most of it now.
It feels like a really like nicely moody 80s synth pop tune, but with 90s like percussion or production. Yeah, this is amazing. This is the best one. It's definitely a 303. I had no idea we'd be getting something like this.
Everything's gonna be alright, one day at a time.
Synth bass is really good.
Everything's gonna be alright, one day at a time. Everything's gonna be alright, one day at a time.
Look at that acid church.
It's gonna be alright, one day at a time. Everything's gonna be alright, one day at a time. Everything's gonna be alright, one day at a time. Everything's gonna be alright, one day at a time.
Like that percussive groove. Bass still doing a little bit. Yep. I like to apologize to John Taylor. I thought after that first album, okay, so, you know, he's gonna pursue kind of alt rock, heavier rock kind of flavor, maybe an occasional ballad. I had no clue we'd be hearing something like this. Including acid, yeah, that's right. I'm amazed. I'm like really impressed. My understanding now of his solo output is necessarily going to have to be amended and expanded. Really excited about this album. So once again, shout out to Johnny's Girl, who sort of turned my attention to reacting to his solo material in the first place, as well as Seb, who has made this available to me. And yeah, bottom line, really cool. Probably my favorite tune from him so far. Let me know what you think of that one. I will see you next time. Peace.